Please start now. 3, 2, 1.
Is there anyone here that would like to communicate with us?
Putting a dip in your hip, a glide in your stride. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe, with shows throughout the week. Everything you want, everything you could need. From the paranormal to the supernatural, from the spiritual to the unknown, from emotions to comedy. You can find us at Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and so much more. This is Rift Nation Network, the RNN. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
Good evening, travelers and those alike. Welcome to the Orion Effect right here on the RNN. Tonight, we are at the campfire chatting with our good friend, Jon Harris, who has returned from RVA Paranormal. Da, 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 da.
Hi.
And me.
Returned. I have returned from
Yeah,
RVA.
has returned. I love that. Ronda's like, and me.
So I have to, before we get started, I have to apologize. Came back from Jersey last week. Got a cold. I've been fighting a cold since Thursday, so my voice may crack, or I just have to talk like this.
That's sexy. Speak like that.
It's better than the alternative. The squeaky voice when you.
Exactly.
Don't worry. I'll probably go on, hey, it's been a great night. I've had it for 2 weeks. So
I do have to find my mute button.
you sound better than I do. Welcome. I am, of course, the quintessential hitman of social media. I am Ed Odell.
And I am Rhonda Harris Dowdy.
With the angry, evil growling in the
I was
background.
going to say with the little demons in the back. I was just going to say, stop, demons.
Oh, that was real. I thought that was a soundboard. I was like,
no, that's my
I'm
dog.
not there yet.
jeez.
I was like, go. Rhonda beat me to the soundboard. Damn demons. Get on. Go back.
Oh, my goodness.
I hope you're all well tonight. This is something we don't usually do. We don't bring our guest on right away, but he is more than a guest. He is a co-host. This is chatting by the campfire, something we've wanted to do for a weird, and now we've got the series going when Jon comes. and we just chit about everything. And evidently, Rhonda has been getting ready. She's like, "You two in the rabbit hole." Oh, yeah,
Oh,
I
Lord.
just wanted to be prepared to have intelligent questions because you
yeah.
guys
Oh,
get
Lord,
deep.
intelligent questions.
Y'all
Now,
get deep.
now we're getting in trouble. We're leaving the campfire. It's getting intelligent.
Sometimes the best conversations are at the campfire. Just saying.
Tis a fact.
She said, "Oh, look, the accents are back. Look out."
Oh, hello.
That's because I've got coffee.
Oh, tea.
Coffee. This is an
Me too.
I went to Ireland to get this coffee tonight.
That was fast.
Thank you.
Wawa starts selling coffee.
You went to you went
Irish
tonight
coffee.
to Ireland. You went to Ireland.
Ah,
Okay.
yes. Well, Wawa, I did not know this in-house brew. This is in-house brew. Doesn't sound Irish. I'm not trying to be Irish, homie. It's just the coffee. I don't know what I am, but I like the accent. So I like to go with it. But thank you. Oh, and hello to everybody. Rhonda.
Yes.
remember-
Hello to Keith Ottersberg. Thank you for sharing us out.
May I?
Happy birthday.
Yes. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to Spence. Not happy birthday to Spence. Hi, Spence. And
Keep up.
Sandra Dye. And Mary Ann Brisson.
Preston.
Yeah. And Chris
Mary Ann, hello,
Roden.
dear.
Haven't
Yep.
seen Chris in a while. Good to see you.
Oh, Chris is here too. Yeah, and James is
Yeah.
here. Spence is in the house. Yes,
Oh.
yes. Oh, so many good travelers have come in tonight to talk with us. I cannot wait.
I've
Yes.
shared it out some. I'm waiting for somebody to say that they're here for me. But
Hey, they'll be here. I tagged you.
Cinder's
I didn't
here
know.
for you.
Oh,
She
Cinder's
might
here.
be
We'll
for
say
me
Cinder's
too,
here for
but
me.
she's here for you too.
That's
yeah.
right. That's right.
Hi,
You know,
Cinderella.
Ryan's here.
Hello, Ryan. Hello. I didn't know that I could tag in the sharing till tonight. And that was pretty cool. And I'm like, oh, thank God. It's going to make things a lot easier. So they've added that feature for us to be able to tag guest and Rhonda and myself. So that's
Okay, cool.
yes.
Thank
Always
you,
good to
Cinder.
catch up with
Appreciate
you
you.
guys. Yes, always. Marianne is a historian with her husband. They do a lot of traveling, especially the Civil War location. So I'm going to
Nice.
give her a mad shout out. We don't get to usually see her. There is someone that says hiya that is a Facebook user.
Melly Keefe. Melly Keefe.
Melly Monster. Melly Monster. What are you doing, lady? Thank you for joining. I think this is the first time she's joined us since we've gone to the new program. So she's actually, guess who's sidekick?
Oh,
Who's?
Your favorite person, Ron Fitzgerald.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
He's
yes,
so much fun.
yes.
oh,
Hi,
Facebook,
Tyler
Facebook
Darnell
user
is
is
in the
John,
house.
Shyla, and Ronnie from Vermont.
Oh,
Yeah.
rock on. What?
From Vermont.
Vermont.
Yes. Is
Rock
it
on.
snowing in Vermont? Inquiry minds want to know. Is John wearing shorts? Is it warm enough to wear non-shorts?
I guarantee you he's wearing shorts. Guarantee you.
And Marianne's like, I'm jumping out of here. God bless. Thank you. God bless you. And thank you for jumping in and saying hello.
And Rich Rozelle has joined us as well.
Well, good evening, Rich. How are you, sir? Let's jump into this because we know that this show could go past 8 o'clock. Let's just be honest.
It could.
Depends on which hole we go down.
When the drugs.
So let's kind of ease into things. And I want to, yes. I want to start this out with a little did you know? So here we go. Let's start the discussion out around the fire tonight on this. I'm going to throw this out there and let's see if Rhonda has done her homework.
Oh my
this
gosh,
week.
you know I don't know.
We're going to try anyway. Who created the first ghost box?
Tesla?
Oh, look, she beat both of us.
Was it Tesla?
It was Tesla,
See, I was
1901.
going.
Right? I
was
literally
that
just
before
guessed.
Edison?
Yes, Edison took and stole the patent Well,
He also stole the light bulb. Just
yeah, that too. He stole everything. Yeah, I said it. I don't care. Yes, he stole what Tesla was working on, and Tesla called it the Spirit Radio, where Edison called it the Edison Ghost Box.
yeah.
So we're starting out with a little trivia tonight. I was ready for you, John. Yeah, I know, right?
I will get tonight.
Holy crap!
Good job, Rhonda. Both of our asses.
Let's see what do we got going here. I was going to say that I would have said Lincoln, but he was busy fighting vampires. Very good, Spets. Ronnie says hello from Vermont. I expected you to be around an actual campfire. False advertisement, Howie. No, I did show a fire. The fire pit was last night. Just saying.
Here.
But hey,
he's got a fire.
So there it is. We got the fire. Now, in your face, Ronnie.
Next question.
He's got a good point. Maybe when we do this, we should take the fourth chair and turn it into a fire pit video.
We could do that. We could totally do that. That's
a good idea, Ronnie. Thank you for bringing that up. Chris says presentation in the beginning was awesome. Thank you. We're working and we're progressing this show. It's getting a little better. As I learn a little bit more about Restream and teach Rhonda what I know, I learned from Joni and Susan. And as the network progresses, as the shows progress, you will see now we all have intros. We have an ending. As John said just a little bit ago, we will have a soundboard soon too. So, yes.
I was guessing. Use my psychic powers. I was like,
Ronnie says, that's good, John. Who-oh. I'm not sure who that is, but hello.
Tiffany Denham.
Oh, hey, Tiff. Wow, everybody's jumping in tonight. Good evening, Sir John. How are you tonight?
Hey, Sully, what's up, my man?
So, let's do this. Let's just break it in a little bit, and that way John's in the fold with how we do things. How was y'all's weekend? What did you do? What took place? I know, share.
Mine was easy. I just lay on the couch because I was getting over a cold. But
as you should.
Oh, and so on top of that, I threw my back out last weekend. So I'm dealing with a little sciatica damage with the cold. Lynn's doing her best to stay away from me. Sent her to Hanover Tavern last night with our RVA's newest member who's in the chat tonight, Ryan Baker.
Okay.
Took us 13, 14 years to bring somebody on to RVA, but we met the right guy and he's joined us as well. So appreciate you joining us out here, Ryan.
Absolutely. And maybe he can let us know how it went, because I know Transcend had their thing last night. Yesterday here at the cabin, we first went out. Hey, where were you last night, by the way, Rhonda?
Oh, anyway. By the way, I had a friend in town that I went to high school with that just popped by. So then I ended up here. Here. Right. Yep, that was it.
Could have brought him with you.
I could have.
So you met up with somebody from high school and brought them back to your house?
No, they just popped up at my house.
So,
yeah, they just popped up, and then we probably would have come out, but there might have been beverages involved.
I was like, you slide you.
There might have been something that would prevent us from driving through Hanover County.
Oh, I didn't I gotcha. Well, here yesterday morning, of course, we did 2 cemeteries. I did join for the first time, Dennis and Ryan, as we flagged 2 cemeteries. And for the first time ever, we had a squad, not a platoon. We had a squad come from Fort Lee. We had 40 soldiers with us. And let me tell you, those kids rocked. And I can't believe I'm saying that, John. I'm saying kids, but they were my child's age. And I'm like, holy mother, I can't believe I'm saying this. But we had a great time. There was all people from all walks of life there. And we were there till 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Um, we went to Evergreen or East End Cemetery. Then we did another cemetery prior to that. I left, got some luggage, if you will, came back to the cabin, met up with, and I spent all day with some ASPS members, which was so nice. I spent the day with Shonda and Mike Brooks. Props out. George up.
Yeah, they're our buddies. We love them.
Love them. So it was the first time I got to spend all day with them. So they met me back here at the cabin. Then Ryan showed up. I started the fire. Hello from Spotsylvania Regional Medical Center. Hello. Hello. Who's that?
That's Michelle Darnell. Let's send her lots of
Oh.
prayers because she's been in the hospital for a week now. So
Yeah.
Yes.
lots of prayers and love to Michelle.
Lots of prayers.
Absolutely. But hello. Thank you for joining. We're glad we can be your medicine. Okay. But seriously, get well soon, Michelle. So we spent the evening, and it was myself. You're absolutely welcome. We spent the evening with Dennis was here. Ryan was here, of course. We had 3 other crews, along with Crop, which was Crystal and Jenna. We actually did the fire pit last night. And it was kind of a free for all last night. I don't know if you have ever experienced it here, but when we do the fire pit, it's kind of go do what you want to do. Be careful. And we had some hits. We had stuff over in the rancher. We had some crazy stuff in the woods last night. The woods been crazy for the last 2 months. Cabin itself was kind of but we really just enjoyed it. I mean, we were drinking again, Irish coffee. Along, with just soda and stuff. We weren't doing any drinking, but we had a great time. It was nice. It was a great change of pace. Yes.
Yeah, that's a great thing that Dennis does, and Crop and everyone to continue that tradition, and place moose flags for a lot of those forgotten, military veterans and in those cemeteries. So he always does a great job in fundraising for that, and never misses a beat. I wish I could have gone, but
Yeah.
I think last time I was still probably picking ticks off myself the last time we were out there.
Oh, did you go in May?
Yeah.
Almost made that one. I was feeling very bad Friday night. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to make it. I wasn't sure. But I woke up yesterday morning. I'm like, look, it's called integrity. I pulled myself together. Like I told Ryan I was going to be here. I'm going to come help. I dragged myself out of bed. I'm so glad I did because I felt so good throughout the day. That fresh air, getting, cleaning out my chest. Then again, spending the time with them and celebrating Veterans Day together because Jenna is a veteran. We had several other veterans that were here. Gene didn't make it, but he's a member of Crop who's a veteran. I have to put that out there. So it was a good weekend. A lot of changes and a lot of crazy things have been going on the last 2 weeks since and actually it's a lot of been craziness since we've all 3 of us been together. There's been a lot of interesting breaking scientific things coming out, both on the space side, on the paranormal side. I actually did something today, and I was like, you know what? The gentleman who does WF is a really nice guy. And I took the time, I wanted to knock the dust off a few things and catch up. And I watched a couple of the episodes, and he has one episode that has to do with the paranormal specifically. And I was like, wow, that's a really great episode. This is where that whole thing with the whole Tesla Edison came in because he did a huge thing on it. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I wanted to start the conversation with that, how many things in our society today, people have no idea are actually developments of paranormal research, paranormal equipment, paranormal ideas. Your thoughts?
Okay, I'll go first. I agree with you. And so much of the, and it takes folks like Edison and Tesla, to do those odd things. And you mentioned Y-files and some of the, one show specifically around paranormal, but other shows around machines that kind of hit on what we're doing today or attempting to do today with communication. And gosh, I now you got me on the thing. I got to look up and see. But I mean, there are folks out there even today doing on those findings. So you mentioned like the spirit box and Edison and the spirit radio, and I really think that ITC, instrumental telecommunications, is where we're going to make the next breakthrough in the ability to communicate with the other side. And it's interesting. It's an interesting segue. We went to Jersey Paracon in New Jersey last weekend, and I met Ron Yacovetti. I don't know if you know Ron. And I sat through several of Ron's presentations that he was doing. And he was kind of in the back off to the side, in a room by himself. But me and Lynn sat in there for hours listening to what he's doing in the realm of ITC and spirit and ghost box communication, strictly using white noise. And I was just blown away, and I walked up to him today. I was like, what you're doing here is, a very elaborate, expensive passion, right? And that's what it's going to take to be, to make the next great discovery. And I said, I think you're really close to breaking into something very serious with what I was hearing. coming out of the speakers from these live sessions he was doing in a high school room, and I couldn't pick his brain enough about what he's doing. But yeah, I think so much of what they did kind of leads us to that, right? Energies, everybody the theory of energy. Spirit is energy. Energy never dies. Creating energy and getting energies to interact with each other. I think that's I don't think people realize it, but you're right.
Yeah. The thing that caught me was something that the host of that show said, and it intrigued me to hear someone who's not into the paranormal per se. Okay, he's not a practicing investigator, but he's in the paranormal. I mean, that's all he talks about: the strange, the unusual. You got to give the man props for it, for his research he's done, and helping teach other people. And some of it's his opinions. One of the things that he said, and it's it says sarcastic Mark, look on his face. It said it underneath because he went, was they were talking about how a lot of people feel that the media or entertainment side of the paranormal has really set back the paranormal field. Also, in the same sentence, they were saying how the equipment that we have today has kind of set it back to where it should be. And I was like, I stopped for a second. And Ron and I, we don't use a lot of equipment, but I like to use earthly equipment, true, compass and stuff like that. I do use, shameless plug coming your way, the Hope Spirit Box. Catch it today. Go out and check out in your app store. It's Hope. It's that or nothing. Did y'all like that? That was pretty good. But they were saying how all of this equipment can be debunked by science when it's in the field. And I went, son of a biscuit eater. Hey, I didn't cuss. I did good. Sorry, YouTube and Facebook. They're right. If you think about it, he even, able to tear down the SLS. And, he said, one of the most prominent pieces of equipment, this was last year, of course, was the SLS. And, I'm not a huge fan of the SLS. However, he turned around and said, it's human flawed. The programming is flawed. And I was like, he's right. K2, it's flawed. It's based on frequency on 2 levels, active and direct. And I went, yep, got it there too. I said, but the thing he couldn't go after was the use of like a compass. He was talking about divination tools, here comes the witch board or Ouija board or, the talk board. Divination rods. Okay. All right. These are, I can get that. But where did we get set back? And in the show, he was talking about how it feels like we've been set back, and he's right. And I wanted to get your opinion on this first, Jon, before I start running my mouth and see where y'all think after I say what I'm going to say, what you feel about it.
Okay. So you're going to turn the fan on and ask me to throw the poop in it.
Yeah, why not? And then I'll step in it. It's all good.
I mean, I kind of do agree. I don't think that you'll find very many investigators out there that have been doing it a very long time that won't agree with what science is telling us about the paranormal. It is very much a pseudoscience, right? Mm-hmm. It is not perfect. And we cannot go into any location and replicate and have a base for an experiment and get the same results repeatedly, right?
Right.
So, part of that is also, part of being an investigator is accepting that, right? The equipment you use and the equipment that people are finding every day and inventing, I think most of them already had applications around them. The K2 meter, it's a cheap EMF detector, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's fantastic for going into an old home and finding, an insulated conduit, running in your walls and things like that. It picks up on things like that. But and on the flip side of that, there is no exposed conduit in the middle of the woods where we often get, EMF fluctuations. So hold on. So I think that the application that the way you're applying the tools that you're using are, I think we're more laxed in that. I won't say this. I think we're more laxed in our environments, like not controlling our environment when we're doing these investigations as much as we are with the equipment. Videoing and going live and taking pictures and using applications on your phone. A lot of people don't realize it's an electronic device.
Right.
And in order to, and I've always said this, in order to really get into the nitty gritty, I think you need to remove any electronic devices that you're not using to get repetitive and evidence that's hard to debunk.
And with the outside, with what you just said, Jon, sometimes it makes me curious because you still get things outside, but sometimes you're closer to power lines than you realize. Or you might be closer to a cell phone tower and not even know it, because now they disguise them as trees.
True.
No, that's true. I mean, we live in a world of technology, so there are frequencies and signals and everything that we're being exposed to every day, through towers, radio, cell phone, internet. So we really don't know. I mean, I don't know that we could ever get a completely clean environment, but it is something you have to take into consideration when you're walking around with a K2, right?
Yeah.
So, Jon, I do have a question. The guy that you all listen to in New Jersey, you said a lot of it's dealt with white noise. Did he mention if they're looking at other kinds of noise? And I just say that because, you see things pick up on your TikTok and things like that. Well, one came across for me months ago, and it said like fall asleep in 5 minutes, and it's green. They call it green noise,
Green noise.
which is like a different frequency. Now, do I fall asleep in 5 minutes? No, but does it help me fall asleep? Yeah, because it sounds more like ocean waves. So I was wondering if they were strictly going around white noise or other kinds.
So I'll tell you, I asked him the exact question. I'll tell you what he told me. And by the way, he's going to be at the Hanover Tavern Paracon in January with this. So I highly, highly, highly recommend you go to Transcend's page or you go to Hanover Tavern and you look it up and you come out if you want to see this in action. He was very specific in the devices that you buy that make white noise. That's recorded white noise on a chip that's playing over and over again. It's not natural white noise.
Exactly.
Okay.
So the first thing you have to do is make sure that the white noise generator that you are using is generating the noise that you're hearing. And it's not recorded, because if it's recorded, it's going to repeat itself. So I did ask about pink noise and green noise, and they said yes, that they have experimented with that, but white noise is typically the best outcome that they've got. And what he's essentially, on a high level of what he's doing, is it's very similar to removing the skipping from a spirit box, right? Getting that out and getting to what's underneath it.
Right, the pureness.
So he's feeding white noise through a capture device into a computer, reverse engineering everything that you would ever learn if you were an audio engineer and wanted to record a concert.
Yeah.
He's doing the complete opposite. So he's dropping out the white noise, he's dropping out certain frequencies, and you're hearing what's under the white noise. And then he's slowing it down, which seems to be very important, and then sending it through an output to a speaker that you're listening to in real time. So it's not a recording. And what I found myself doing a lot is I thought he was playing recorded audio that had been heavily filtered.
Right.
Because I'm hearing the voices and I'm hearing the responses as plain as day. I'm hearing voices arguing with one another. Right?
Right.
And then I'm hearing other voices come through. I'm hearing women, men, children. And I'm like, oh my God. It's like the room is full of. And then every once in a while you'll hear a hello or what is your name? My name. And he's getting whole sentences.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna kid around. When I asked him if pink noise or brown noise, he's like, just white noise seems to be what it is. And he says, well, you could use a spirit box to do this. If you put the spirit box on a frequency that isn't picking up anything, but that there's something there. It's a radio frequency, and there's data in that.
Right.
In that white noise. He said, with a white noise generator, there is no data, so you should not hear voices.
Exactly.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
So he's been working on. I think he's been working on this for like 3 or 4 years. And no, I'll tell you this, because somebody asked him, you can't buy it.
Yeah.
It's all done through perpetual licensing for software. So it's software that you can, but he can't resell it to you. He can tell you what the equipment is. He can tell you the software that he's using, but he can't tell you. He can't package it and say here, right?
Right.
And I told him, I said, nor should you. This is you. This
Your research.
You are.
Yeah.
He says now I encourage people to go out and try this on their own. But there's nothing I can tell you. Put this in a box and hand it to you and say, go forth. And
yeah. They're going to have to develop it themselves. And that brings it to a good question, because Sprince just asked, have they ever created a spirit box that gives off energy for the spirit to use to speak? Not that I'm aware of. I will say that you have your EMP pumps and different things to what we think may help them use energy to do so. But I've never heard of a device that actually gives them to return back. Yeah. I've never heard that before. So,
and I think the first thing you have to ask for that is what type of energy do spirits use?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Could it be the noise? It could be. Is it static electricity? Potentially. Is the battery in that spirit box enough? And is that the type of energy that a spirit needs? Here's one for you. Does a spirit need energy?
Does a spirit need energy?
Ha.
Well, you
Well,
know
we
what?
assume so, yeah.
Here we go down the rabbit hole, baby. Here we go.
You know me. I love it. Right? Does a spirit need energy? Because we believe that a spirit is energy, and energy never dies. It never expires.
Correct.
Energy is always energy. It can be weaker, and you can turn it off at the source, but when you turn that light back on, the energy is there.
And we don't know what type of entity or spirit we're dealing with. Maybe they deal with something completely different. But this show's all about is opening your mind, and I want you to think. The simple fact is I've encountered entities and spirits that deal with thermal. We've dealt with light. We've dealt again with needing something cold to hot, hot to cold. They're needing something like an impulse. We've experienced all of that. We don't know as of yet, and this is one of the things he was talking about. This is why the field's being held back, because in the fact to have a legit scientific point of view, you need to have your base and you need to have the constant research of one location over. And John, you were just talking about this just a few minutes ago. We need that one place that we can research on a proper cleansed area over a period of time, and documentation of each time the research has ever been done at that point.
Yeah.
We're not doing that. And he did make a focus, and I'm not going to use the names of the places because he actually put the names out. And I'm like, oh, dude, don't do that. You can get in trouble. But he did put out a couple of names of locations on the East Coast that claim to have activity, but you can't spend long periods of time there. That's what he said. That's the other problem. The problem is people are benefiting off of the culture. That's the now, which paranormal has become popular. So it's a popular attraction now. I hate to say it, he's right. The locations have become attractions, not a research probability. So that's another issue we have to deal with. How do you do that? Luckily, I work with Dennis and Ryan here at the cabin. I have access. Rhonda has access to the high school, working with FPRI, but not everybody has these kind of accesses to spend that quality research time. And a lot of people are like he said, are ghost hunters.
Yeah.
Going out there and grabbing by all this expensive equipment to go ghost hunting. It's become a money metropolis. I won't go any further.
There it is. No,
Yeah.
and I agree with you. And people have, look, people have been experiencing ghosts in activity and been investigating ghosts for centuries, right? There are accounts of this that go back to the 16th, 15th century. People seeing ghosts and doing seances and things. Hey, guess what, folks? There were no batteries. There were no cell phones. There were no flashlights. There were no EMP pumps. So it's not so much I don't think it's so much the energy that's in the devices and things that's around us. Because if that were the case, they'd just be walking by you in the morning going, hey, John, because there'd be so much energy around them. Now, I do think that natural energy, Earth's magnetic energy, radiation,
Lightning,
that type of energy, I believe when we're talking about energy, is the type of energy that not necessarily feeds, but increases the activity. However, awareness around you.
What's up, Ryan?
But yeah, and I don't talk bad about anybody, right?
Yeah.
Investigating is a hobby that everybody can enjoy, and there are plenty of places to go out and do it, and people go out and have a really great time with it.
Right.
And people today can go out and take a $5 component from China, stick an LED light on it, put it in a 3D printed box, and sell it to you for $60.
Bingo.
And tell you that every time it goes off, it's a ghost.
Exactly. That's what he was talking about too. The REM pod, K2s. Again, you know, if you don't know what this equipment's being used for or what it was used for, why are you out there using it just because it lights up? I mean,
Well, even then, you look back. If you look back in time, the technology revolution, were just when we started getting like a radio and phonographs and things like that. It was more taboo to be doing seances and believing in the dead. But even when that all came to fruition, that's when people started doing more seances. And here they believe they have this record player where you could record somebody's voice for years and years. So the minute that there was technology is when it started booming.
mm-hmm.
Spiritualism came at the same time as the technology came.
Exactly. Well, in some ways you're exactly right. However, I can pull back out of that and say this: the first documented paranormal activity took place in 869, and that was by a Roman statesman by the name of the Younger. Who now get this story? Does this not sound like today's story though, you guys? Now listen to this. So Younger went to go looking for a place to live in the Roman area. Okay. In this, he was actually looking, and the real estate was much like ours right now. Where's the cheapest place? Well, the place he found was a place that nobody wanted to purchase, rent, or own because they claimed that it had godlike activity in the location. So he's like, whatever, you know, he goes up into this place. Now, and this is documented. He rented the location. This is interesting to me, the fact that the rent word came out. He rented this location and he was laying in bed one night and a entity came to him wearing or having chains, telling him to leave, to get out. This is intriguing to me because this sounds so familiar. And I'm like, wow. And he goes, and it just kept going on and on. Finally, one night, he followed this entity into the courtyard of this location and watched as it dissipated in one location. Well, that week, he had an order to dig up this one spot in this area. They started digging. As soon as they started digging, they came across bones. What was wrapped around the bones? Chains. Yep, chains. So here lies our first paranormal activity along with modern. It's interesting how modern it sounds, but we're talking 869. Holy crack. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, documentation of the paranormal, it's just like, how many people know what the meaning of haunting is? I mean, honestly, not a lot of people can even define what the word haunt. They can give y'all, this is my opinion. The stating of the haunting is the first experience of spiritual activity towards a living creature. That's a haunting. So,
Yeah, and it only has to be recognized by one person.
One person, just one individual. So if we go back, I would love to go back, and I think I want to. What kind of other tools did they use back then? It wasn't just dowsing rods, especially if it's Roman times and there were paranormal researchers. Ooh, they got technical too. Okay, we get into the 17th, 18th century. We get into Sedgwick, the godfather of the paranormal, who created ASAP and founder of ASSAP, along with Dr. Williams. Here we go. It's all started, but we have documentation all the way back in the times of Egyptian culture and Jewish culture. So many religions talking about spiritualism, etc. You know what? Let's think about the one biggest piece of equipment that nobody ever talks about. That's probably one of the greatest pieces of paranormal equipment in the world of history. What do you think that is?
It's me.
Aw,
Or you. Or Ron.
no,
Yeah.
no. You well, when I say it like that, but no. Think about it. What did the Judeans carry around with them? Remember, I said equipment.
You didn't say it was going to be a test. All right, Rhonda, you're good at these.
No, I already got mine. It's your turn, John.
She's actually learning. If you think about it, the Ark of the Covenant was the first paranormal piece of equipment that we understand could be because of how it's described in the book. It's electrified, it has fields, it does mystical things. It's intriguing to me. John just went, "You son of a bitch." I know, I'm just saying. It's intriguing to me. That's all. So, are the other obstacles? Well, look at Hitler. Hitler, during the time of the Nazi regime, went after specific artifacts because he wanted power. He thought these products had power. So where does that lead us now? So we go past the dowsing rods and witch boards to the Spear of Destiny and the 7 Rings of Solomon. Did we forget about those? It's interesting to me. That's all. That's why I was like, hey, let's bring this to the table. Let's talk about it. Let's go down the rabbit hole because it intrigues me to where we come up to modern day. And here we are. Everybody's talking about, we got this, that, and the fifth. I'm like, technically, historically speaking, there were items back in ancient times that are 5 times, 10 times, 20 times more dangerous than we have now. They had batteries during Egyptian time, coconut batteries.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, even Egyptians talked about, well, all right, let me not say Egyptians. What we know of, they had electricity back then. So where did we lose out for thousands of years to come back around to Thomas Edison and Nicholas Tesla? Wow. Where did we lose our shit? I took y'all down the hole, didn't I?
So no, not really. I mean, when you think about it, there are things that we're discovering now, like the Great Pyramids weren't tombs at all. They were giant energy producing boxes. They were power plants.
Yeah, diamonds.
And so I think it's been there. I think it's been around. But again, all of that is based on the Earth's energy. So it's not created energy. It's Earth's energy,
Right.
and it's always been there. So the Ark of the Covenant, that's interesting. I think the Ark of the Covenant has been, through the years, the story has been told, right? And it could be that the Ark of the Covenant has already been discovered, but we're expecting it to be something that it's not.
That I would agree with.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I hate, I know that we're talking about, I hate to bring like Indiana Jones and everything. When you talk about, when you talk about the Ark of the Covenant and you talk about, the cup of Christ.
Right.
And how everybody, at the end of that movie, everybody just elaborated, this is the cup of the kings, and it had diamonds and rubies and gold. And Jones picked it up. He picked up a simple clay cup and said, "This is the cup of a carpenter."
Yeah.
And I really just think, like, with that, I think a lot of these artifacts have been found, have been discovered, but they're not as elaborate as we think they are. Like the Ark of the Covenant could have just been a gigantic, like, wine container sealed, and just the glory of the story has kind of turned it into a gold box that with the eagles on it and the touching wings. And I know there are depictions of what it is, but I don't think a lot of people have seen it. I really don't. But I do agree with this. There are things out there obviously with history, I'm talking ancient history,
Yeah.
that we have seen and are looking through the eyes of what people are telling us they are. Like the drawings on the wall of men in spacesuits, right? Or and things like that. Well, there's just this really educated guy that's going, that looks like a UFO. And then they put it on TV and everybody goes, oh, it is a UFO. Look at it. Looks just like a UFO. People that have never seen a UFO say that looks just like a UFO.
Exactly.
So the thing is, I think there's a lot of things in there that we can't explain. We don't know what they are. And I think somebody makes an assumption and then it just catches on. Kind of like the K2 meter on Ghost Hunters. When that thing premiered, everybody had one. K2 meter. They use it on TV. It's K2 meter. It's text ghost. Oh,
Yeah.
here comes a spirit box. Oh, got a K2 meter and I got a spirit box. These are tech ghost.
Exactly.
Oh, and one of these twisty flashlights. Got one of those too.
Yeah.
Got everything I need.
No, that was
use it on TV. This is all I need.
Let me go to my junk drawer and get mine.
Yeah. Little clip-ons. Oh, gotta get the head. Like, yeah. No, that all right. See, that's where he was talking about how media entertainment is dictating what we're doing right now in the field as a general. In general.
It does. And don't get me wrong. It's not all bad.
No.
When you get a flashlight to turn on and off, or count to 3 and it come on, or get 2 to come on, and you can get them to interact with you asking. Yeah, there's more probability to that than just one single flashlight coming on.
Yes.
You know, but however, I've got to throw that monkey wrench in there. Science can debunk that. That's the problem. That's what he was saying. Science can debunk the fact that there's an arching between the battery and its connector based on barometric pressure and temperature. I agree. I'm just looking at both points. It's same thing about K2. Be the same thing. If we look at the ghost box, it can be the same thing, picking up frequencies. But you went back to white noise. I am intrigued by that because there was a gentleman, and John, I don't know if you remember Mike, but Mike Sinclair down in Southwest Virginia who had Cobra Paranormal. Okay. He's got some good YouTube stuff out. I know he's underground now. Nobody's heard from him in a while, but he gave, and you can go to YouTube now and check it out. He gave tutorials on how to do a DIY equipment. And I was actually talking to Sean and Courtney about this because we got into a whole another big discussion about a company that's come to Virginia. Let's continue. And they're a valid point. You know, we're talking constant. What about why not using a digi with a fan, a box fan? A box fan is pure white noise. Have we forgotten the simple?
Anything like that. Anything that you can get, we can get a constant sound is something that needs to be explored.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, me being the geek that I am, I have gone out. I've started messing with it. Of course, I've done. I mean, you know, I've told you plenty of times. I'm real firm believer in the best evidence is audio and video. And how do I say this without?
Just say it, dude. Come on. When the hell are you holding back?
I believe that anything that you can get that's a recording is fine. And I've said it several times that I don't think that what we're getting, people hate the spirit box. Like some people hate it. I hated it for a very long time.
Yeah.
It drives me absolutely crazy. To hear it, you know, just to hear that constant.
Yeah.
But I hear so much come through that's not being interrupted by the skipping of the frequencies. And Lynn's the same way for a long time. We're like, it's not the spirit box. You're not hearing things coming over the radio frequencies. You're hearing things coming through the white noise.
True.
And Ron kind of said the same thing. He's like, the only reason you get, he said the reason why I think that you only get like 1 or 2 words from a spirit box is because the the skipping is drowning it out.
Absolutely.
You know, because I've heard plenty of things through the
Yes.
spirit box, and you know, I've run the spirit box just running it, not skipping, like, and just listen to it, you know, down on like 88.1 or something. Just nothing's down there, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, and I talked to Ron, and I told Ron, I was like, hey, look, you know, I'm gonna play with this, right? I'm gonna, you know, these very simple components, and I've got access to all of this audio software. I'm gonna tinker with this a little bit, and he seemed fine with it. So I was tinkering with it today. I kid you not, and I recorded in my kitchen 1 minute of white noise,
Mm-hmm.
and then I recorded it going through a mic capture directly into Adobe Audition. And then I went back and recorded that and then treated it like an audio file. And I went in there and reduced the noise, dropped the frequencies, and really kind of pulled out the stuff behind it. And guess what happened? I captured a woman's voice. And it said there are many.
Mm-hmm.
And that was in 60 seconds of audio that I captured in my living room. And I'm going back and I'm listening to this, right? And I've dropped the white noise out, and it sounds, you know, you get that garbly, like you're listening underwater, just like over compressed, over analyzed data.
Yeah.
And then I hear this voice, and I'm like, where did that voice come from? Television? And I'm thinking, no, there is no just white noise running through a microphone.
Yeah.
Not through a microphone, through a microphone capture.
Right. I got you.
But it's the white noise box, like you would sleep with, or a radio, that's just feeding into an audio mic port directly into the computer. So there's nothing that can capture a voice. And Lynn was gone; it was just me. So there wasn't. And trust me, there was no other woman in the house. But I got that in 60 minutes, and I was like, "Son of a beep," you know.
Right.
He's on to something. You know, and in just 60 seconds of going back and listening to white noise. Now, like I said, he's doing this live. You're hearing this in real time. Like, he's capturing this white noise. It's going into his computer. It's going through the magic boxes, and taking this out and that out and that out, and it's spitting it out to a Bluetooth speaker. And you're asking questions, and you're hearing the responses come over his speaker. But I was like, I'm not that cool. I just want to see if I can get something. So I just ran white noise 60 seconds through, and then I went in there and did a noise reduction.
Mm-hmm.
And then I doubled the noise reduction, dropped the ceiling, and then went back and listened to it. And there was a female voice in that white noise.
So with that, I have a question for you, Jon.
Yeah.
Something I didn't even think about until you started talking about this. I'm like, here we go again. I just didn't hit the light bulb or brain blast. But can we place Audacity on our cell phones? Have you ever tried that? And if so, why can't we use that programming on our cell phones to do the exact same thing?
So Audacity, and this is one of the problems that I really want to get with Ron so bad. I'm scared. I'm scared to message him. I am.
Break the barrier. Go
I'm like, hey, guy, guess what? I went and bought all that stuff that you had, and I'm doing this, and I'm hearing voices.
Yeah.
The problem is, how do you get that out? And that's the secret. So Audacity, you can't apply those filters until it's recorded. So you have to record it, then you have to go back and analyze it and play.
So you can't set the perimeter on Audacity to do
No, because Audacity isn't audio recording and audio editing. The file has to exist. What he's doing is, through some sort of magic software, he's figured out a way to get that white noise to go through and run through those applications apply all those filters in real time, and then output to a speaker.
Oh,
And
now
you
that.
can't do it in Audition or Audacity
Yeah.
until you record it and then go back and apply it.
Yeah, because if you're recording directly to Audacity, you still have to play with the filters to get your response of what you're looking for. That's right. There is no basement. Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Well, that gives
So
me time. It gives me things that we got to get
now,
together.
now
I
that
can't
doesn't
wait to
mean that he's
investigate
not
with
gonna,
Jon again.
that doesn't mean that he's not going to figure it out.
Right.
Right. And he was very upfront. He was like, he says, I want people to use this.
Mhm.
You know how the portal guy, Haas Paranormal or Huff,
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
you know, he built a portal. I've
Mhm.
got one sitting there. It's built right off of his design. He sent you. He provided an Amazon list. It's like here's all the equipment you're going to need, all the parts. Go buy it yourself.
It's
This
kind
is
of
how
like a
you put it
date.
together. And then you're going to have to figure out what settings work. So he said he could do that. He said, but you know, he's like, you better have a big old bankroll. So I mean, you know, the software alone to do this, when you start talking about like software editing and audio editing, that's pricey stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I use, like I said, I use Audition, and
Right.
that's I pay a subscription for that. It's $30 a month,
Yeah.
right? So you do that over the course of 2 or 3 years. It's a lot of money, right? And it's not getting the job done. You can't do it the way that he's doing it with that.
Yeah.
So you know, it's I don't like I said, I don't know what he's thrown at it, but I think that he's been doing it for, I think he said 3 to 4 years. He's super stoked about this still. Like to this day, he's like, it's coming. We're working on it.
Oh,
And
I feel it. Dude, if we stay on the track that we're actually, I feel this year I've seen it. The field itself has come together much better than it has since you and I even started doing this. I have seen that. The camaraderie, the respect, the drama has like kind of really kind of settled. Everybody's kind of focusing on doing their stuff and kind of bringing things to the table. I have seen that start. So we're heading in that direction.
yeah,
But
and the next breakthrough that we have is going to be from this guy. It's going to be from Ron. It's not going to be from some guy in a, you know, designing 3D printer boxes and selling them to
yeah,
the masses. That's
I don't
not.
think it's going to come from a guy in a lab either. It's going to come from someone like us that's in the trenches that want the information. I mean, look, perfect example of this, giving a little props to a Virginia team, if you will, CPRI. They're dedicated to the scientific side of it.
Mhm.
You got to give teams like that props. That's what we need to be doing. For those other, don't get me wrong. I'm glad if there's people out there, and if you're out there and you're a ghost hunter and you're enjoying it and you're doing it because it's an enjoyment or whatever you're doing it for, great. And this is directed at the paranormal research investigators out there. We got to ground down. We've got to get those locations. We've got to get our documentation down, and you've got to get those people that have that thrive on technology involved to get them all together.
Mhm.
Like right now, I've got a notebook full of drawings and stuff. I don't have the money to build what I have in that notebook, but I'm willing to share it.
Yeah, and that's the difference. You know, with CPRI, they've got grants and funding, and the equipment they use.
Yes.
Let's be real. None of us could ever afford
No,
the equipment that they're
there's no
using,
way in hell. Their
and
one,
they're
their
doing
one module is over $12,000. I'm
yeah,
like, okay,
but
there's
they're
no way
doing
it's technology.
groundbreaking work, and they're finding groundbreaking actual
Hey,
evidence
Steve.
of what's going on when this stuff happens, right? And you know, I'll go back to the flashlight. Okay, And I'll back up a second. We did a ghost tour for the Exchange Hotel
Mm-hmm.
and Civil War Museum. They approached Lynn and Ryan and myself, and it's like, we want to do like a Friday 4-hour thing for folks, small, $10. We did that, perfect.
Yeah.
And we were like, we'd love to. So we met up there, and something I noticed, and I know you love the flashlight, Ed. I know you love it. I know it's one of your favorite pieces of equipment.
Me or her?
No, you.
Me.
Right. I know you love the flashlight, but let me run this by you, okay?
Okay.
So you've been to the Exchange, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so they've got that operating table on the second floor.
Oh yeah.
That's got the blood stains on it.
Yep.
I said, I just, it was the end of the night. We were winding up. I put a flashlight on there, little twisty flashlight.
Yeah.
Set a millimeter beside it. Okay. And started getting interaction with the flashlight. And really, really good interaction with the flashlight.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And here's something that perplexed me about this session is I could tell you when that flashlight was going to come on. Because we were getting EMF spikes on the millimeter beside it, up in the 80 and 90 and 110, 120 milligauss.
Okay.
Spikes. Pow. Flashlight would come on, milligauss would drop. I'd say cut it off. Pop. Flashlight would cut off. Every time that flashlight would turn on or off, there was a substantial amount of EMF around that device that occurred, and it only occurred when that light was coming on and off.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's not just a flashlight coming on. I mean, I looked at the people in the room. I was like, I think we said, how high can you make that number go? 186 is the highest spike that we recorded with it. Right.
Nice.
Right.
And it only did that. I mean, I had a K2 there too. K2 would spike, as high as the little lights would go whenever, but it was 2 EMF meters. One, of course, with the millimeter being shielded. Yeah. And the EDI. We had EDI there too, also detecting this.
Okay.
High levels of EMF when that flashlight came on. And it only did it whenever that light was coming on and off. And I really think that things like that could potentially be related to the paranormal as a way to communicate, when you can kind of put all this stuff together and say, yes, there is. And see that, and when you said CPRI, that kind of spiked me, because that's the data they're looking for. When an event happens, what's happening in the environment at the exact moment that event occurs. Exactly. And in that situation with me, and of course, the other thing I did was I asked CPR, I was like, what's your favorite piece of equipment? It was an EDI. Like the EDI, great device, shielded. Really? Tracks data log. Yeah, he told me he loved it. So it's there. It's doing exactly what the Mel is. It's detecting these high EMF spikes when that flashlight comes on. He's doing it on a molecular level. He's detecting light, lumens and radiation and everything like that at that moment. Right. But I think that's kind of what we need to get back to. We need to get back to get away from just the flashlight coming on and start finding what's going on. Why did that flashlight? See, that's my point. Why is that flashlight going on? Now, you're talking about you had the meters beside it. I'm not saying that the flashlights are false. I'm just saying that they can be scientifically debunked on the way that we supposedly do it. Not saying that they can't use them in Zarching. Again, we don't know how all spirits react and how they put off and what kind of energy or frequency, whichever it may be, all the same, will use to activate. But when you get the flashlight and a meter and another meter, you put that with stuff that people don't know about the Exchange. Here you go. 2013. ASPS is in the Exchange.
We're with at that time SOS, Sisters of Salem. Two of my investigators at the time. Whoa, okay, hold on, Steve. Two of my investigators begin to start to read one of the charts on the second floor. As they were reading the charts, and Ryan Jones and Amber had the EVP of this, it was saying the exact same thing before the investigator even finished. Can you explain that? Hell, I cannot. And then it said, that's me. I
Yeah.
can tell you more. And then it started talking as she was reading it out. I can't explain that. There's things that the exchange that took place. Now, I'm sure this has happened in multiple other locations. However, you've got your situation. I had this situation. If you put them both together, that is some pretty substantial evidence of what is taking place, at least at that location, at that area. Taken fact, it's got water running underneath the exchange. It has tunnels that runs underneath the exchange. It has a railroad track that runs past the exchange. The town is filled with certain minerals. It is a Maj Podge, almost the perfect situation for paranormal activity. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah, it is. And again, like I said, I'm not saying that all of that happening that it was a ghost, because then you have to wonder now what's causing those EMF spikes, right?
Exactly.
And you kind of, like I said, if it doesn't take you down a rabbit hole, it does. But I tell you what it does do, it solidifies the activity that you're having, that something paranormal is occurring.
Something is
And
happening.
something is responding to you. The big what is still what is it that's interacting with you. And I tell people all the time, it's like, my favorite answer to that question is, do you believe in ghosts? And I tell them, I was like, I like to think that there's life after death, but I really don't think that we'll have the answers until we're on the other side of that veil.
Right.
And then we're all going to go, oh, that's what it is. Okay, now I understand. Right. And I did that.
Son of a biscuit eater.
Right. But I really think that they're like most everything that we do can be debunked by science.
Yeah.
Right.
Rhonda, I'm going to let you take Steve's.
Yeah, because that could be it all. All right. So Steve said, hold on. We had something similar occur on the first floor in the train room. Someone broke out a tarot deck, and as soon as they did, a picture flew off the wall in there. We sat down and started to do a few readings, and every time we'd mention it, we'd see spikes in EMF on the mail, specifically around someone disliking the tarot decks.
That's physical interaction, isn't it? I mean, it's still, you're getting an effect from whatever is taking place. I think that's another great point of interaction at this one particular place. I've heard so much just to come from the exchange itself. If you apply these to other locations, it's really intriguing to me of the responses you do and will get with certain pieces of environment. I mean, with fact, I know we've gone over an hour, but that we warned y'all we may do this. So I think the other thing that we also have to look at, and I know this is going to be some people are going to get a little bent out of shape when I say this. I wouldn't be who I was if I didn't do this. But the fact is, what's our intent when we go into an investigation? Are you going in as a ghost hunter? Okay. We all started that way. I've been saying this for years now. I used to give grief to the ghost hunters. And I'm not talking about TV, you guys. I'm talking about us. We all started as ghost hunters, like it or not. But then, you have your progressions. What did you go on your research? You go in investigations, and, did you go into the history? Did you go when we go into a place, we're creating that atmosphere or manifesting a situation as well. How much of what we're experiencing, Jon, I come to you how much of this that we're experiencing have we created on location?
can't put a real number with it, but I believe it's probably a pretty good amount. Just in the years that I've been investigating, I've seen way too many instances where we're doing this at a location and there's someone with us or a guest, and we get names of loved ones of people that are in attendance, as opposed to someone who is there on the site. And I just believe it. I believe that like spirits with us all the time.
Yeah.
I believe that spirits that we want to have with us are with us, and I believe they can come and go, right? But they're always with us, and I believe they follow you.
Yes.
And I believe if you go to somewhere like St. Albans, or you go somewhere where you say a prayer before you go in, like a prayer of protection or something like that, that they hear you and they're like, okay, I'm here with you. I got your back. I mean, so I believe locations can have the spirits there, but I also believe that you have to keep an open mind very, very often, that what you're interacting and engaging with may be there with someone, and maybe something that you never interact with again.
Right.
So when you go in and you ask, are there any soldiers here? Or, who cares? Who cares if there's a soldier here, right? That's not what we're trying to figure out. Are we trying to figure out, is there life after death? How are we able to communicate with these spirits? What can we learn from them?
Right.
Right.
Thank you.
What good does knowing if they were a lawyer or a soldier or a child do for us?
Yeah, it's just establishing a period of time for that. Other than that, you're looking for the scientific point of view. Okay, this is something I don't mean to interrupt you and I'll cut you off or anything like this, but I would love to get a group of. Okay, sorry, Rhonda, I'm just going to bring this up. I'd like to get a group of trusted mediums and get them in a room, and we all have a discussion. And I want to know, can they communicate to the spirit? And can the spirit tell us how to communicate to them? How can we know when what piece of equipment we have is harming them or keeping them from communicating? Has anybody thought about this? Anybody hear that, Mommy Quad? Just saying.
Yeah, and we found more of it. Like I said, our kind of way of investigating has changed a lot over the years. So now that we kind of go into a location and we're just having conversation with each other, and we're getting responses, and we'll go in. We get better results going into, and I'll just use this as an example, into the train depot at the exchange and talking about the depot history. And it's like, well, I heard, in the Civil War that they had bodies stacked ceiling to floor, wall to wall.
Right.
And then wait and see if you get a response, right?
Yeah.
I think that unsolicited question of information, where if you just got it wrong, they're going to tell you. We hear it all the time. Like, just because you ask what their name is, it doesn't mean that they've got to tell you what their real name is.
Yeah.
They could be pretending to be something that they're not. Everybody talks about that, right? And that's kind of, and to me, that kind of takes the fun out of the air of some of these locations. I love it when people tell me they're going to go on a ghost hunt with a group and things like that and go there. But the stories that have built over one person's thoughts about, there's a child here, or there's this here, there's this here. People go in there and they hear that and they focus on that. You're missing the bigger picture if you go in there expecting to communicate with a single entity. Yeah. The other 100 that are there trying to get your attention are probably going to feel like, like Ron, if I came in and called you, Lisa all the time, eventually you're just going to be like, Lee, like, you don't even know my name. Like, why you keep calling me that? But so I always tell people, I was like, just keep an open mind. Ask them questions that you want to know the answers to. Some good questions that we ask now are, can you see us? What do we look like to you? What do we sound like? How does it look on your side? Do
Yes.
you see light? Do you see dark? Do you see are you warm? Things like that. It's like don't
Where
focus
the
so
hell are
much on
you
the
from?
who, but the what,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Where do you come from?
Yeah,
The biggest one we miss all the time. Where do you come from?
yeah.
Well, and I think the more I'm in this, we do different investigations, and they're for public and they're for private. But it almost sometimes I wonder now, isn't every place haunted to some degree? Isn't there some spirit there, maybe lurking? Is there not some sort of residual energy there? Like, is there
Thousands
anywhere
of
not
years,
haunted?
right? Thousands of years of humans. Oh, come on. We should be blinking and running into a spirit. They're probably packed on top of us, floating around like morons. Get out of my way. I'm just, that's a valid point.
Like,
if
who's
you
to
think
say what John heard today was somebody he even knew? Are they
Yeah,
around us all the time? Maybe.
John wasn't even asking questions. I was just recording. I mean, I just recorded the white noise and then went back to hear to see. I was actually just trying to drop the ceiling and get to where you couldn't hear the white noise and
Yeah.
got a voice. I didn't even ask for a voice.
valid.
And
Spirits can, and it's, I'm going to read that real quick. It says, I wonder about it when I see spirit. I never hear them, and only one of them looked surprised to realize I saw them. That's just a follow up to what y'all were just talking about. I want to get that out there. Chris also said, the other day I saw myself standing beside me at the supermarket. Oh, we won't even go into that doppelganger spiritual crap. I wasn't duplicated like a mirror. I was dressed, my hair was like I've worn it in the past. Okay, then that can be explained. Here we go, multiplicity of different types of paranormal activity again. I'm just
Now we're
trying to
going
keep
into
up, you guys.
dimensions
that's that
potentially.
multiverse shit. Yeah.
Yeah, we're heading in multiverse, guys. Y'all don't want to go there. It's a whole nother damn tunnel for y'all. We've caught audio. Oh, this is Keith. We've caught audio of them thinking we are the spirits haunting them. Yes, exactly. We're going back to multiverse with that. We got to be careful because we don't have the time to go that tunnel. We can on the next fire pit. But yes, you're right. You know what? Send us questions, you guys, for the campfire. Send us your questions. Let us know your F so we can all chit chat about this. We are the dinosaur spirits. Yeah. How come we haven't come across a dino bite? You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
yeah, and we picked that up at Hamilton where there was very quiet. It was one of the first times we were there, or at least I was there. Like it came across, they're watching us, talking about us.
Yeah.
They're watching us.
Well, we've had that here at the cabin. We've had that exchange. We had that at Bell Nevis. And we had that at Selma Mansion. I'm with you. As far as the documentation and the locations that I've spent, okay, let me rephrase that. The locations I have spent a lot of quality time at, I've had that. Not just the quick hits, not just the overnights, but the locations I've actually spent a lot of time at. I agree. We have. Have you found that too, John?
Yeah. Yeah. And interesting, John. You asked like you think would they be spirits all around us? John Tenney,
Right.
John L. Tenney, broke the math down and said there should literally be 11 spirits per acre if every person that's passed on Earth soul remains.
Yeah.
11 an acre. I mean, so like I said, don't ever close your mind off to who or what you're interacting with. And as far as the dinosaurs, how do you know we haven't?
That's the other thing. I really don't. I mean,
It's
how do we know that some of what we're dealing with on the cryptic side now isn't that, and now we're catching that
Yeah,
crap?
lizard people, come on.
Yeah.
Great. Now we're gonna head into the 70s and the sleeve slacks. That's great. That's all. Yes. Wow, I just took myself way back when. Somebody don't give me some orange juice. Anyway, these are valid points. And I love that. That's why I love these discussions like this, because we can get people thinking which is what we want to do. We want to get people thinking, and this is why we call it bonfire too. You think this is bad? Get me and John around a real bonfire with like
Get
Dennis
a
or like
whiskey in us. Yeah, get a whiskey in us. Watch out.
we will be there all night. And if we bring in my boy Jimmy, it will be there all night long.
Well, we've tried to go down that multiverse path, and actually, I think I told you I was like, if all energies are on like a wave, and the waves are different frequencies, and you got one energy that's moving like this, and you got another one that's moving like this, and they cross right there in the middle is where we
That's quantum.
experience that.
Exactly. I mean, you could check that on multiplicity of levels, not just the wave factor, but if you look at on the grid factor, where they say the planes are on different statues with columns, etc. There's open little spaces in that grid where that's where events actually take place. This also crosses over into the bubble theory. One bubble bounces in another, then it merges a little bit. They get that little point right there. It's amazing as long as people open up their minds and think endless amount of possibilities that really is, and we can move forward. We will be able to move forward. I might light one. What did he say? I might
I
light.
think he's talking about a
Yeah.
bonfire.
Yeah, I was like, okay. So another great night. I wish we had more time. I would definitely keep you all night long, John. But I don't want you to throw your voice out. But we got plenty of more time. We got plenty more shows to come, and I'm really looking forward to your returning. It's always a pleasure, brother. Always a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, we always have a good time with John.
Yeah, appreciate y'all having me.
Absolutely. And travelers and those like, thank you for joining us for this here, the fireside chat. And I love what Ronnie said. I got to give props to Ronnie. I may get a fire thing going on the fourth chair, so it really kind of brings us in. Or we can just get John here and we can do a real fireside chat.
Yeah, that could happen.
That's doable.
Hey, the Sunday night, got the fire pit right behind me. Make it happen. I'll even make Brunswick stew that day.
Oh, yeah, that sounds good.
So, John, what do y'all got coming up before we jump out of here?
Oh man, what we got coming up? Well, we just got back from Jersey Paracon. Went out to Lynn. Well, I didn't go. Lynn and Ryan were out at with Transcend last night, helping at the Hanover Tavern. As far as upcoming things, we've got Done Laura with Chris and Mike coming up from Haunted Nights Paranormal Events. I believe there's still some tickets left for that, so you can go check out that if you want to. We're going to be at the Hanover Tavern Paracon in January. We're going to have a little table out there, so if anybody comes by, and I highly recommend you come by. If nothing else, go by there and check out Ron's setup. I can't hype that man up enough, and I'm going to tell him that I hyped him up.
There you go.
But that's going to be that's going to be really, really fun Paracon. I'm glad Steve and Trenton are putting that back on in Hanover Tavern. It's for a great cause and lots of great speakers, and it's a great location if you've never been there. Outside of that, we're good. We're already talking about where we're going to be going for 2024. I think we're going to try to make another appearance out at Sweet Springs where I can actually go this time. So,
and that place is just all over now. Everybody's talking about it. Last night, it's been nonstop talking about that place. So I'm looking forward to getting out there.
You have to stay tuned. We're really going after it in 24. We're taking some places down on our bucket list, and we're hoping they're going to be some really big locations.
Well, give us a holler.
All right.
I need some bodies. We might be able to do something about that.
Definitely we'll do that.
I want to say this too. Ryan just said, I'm down if you want to come out for that. Ryan, we would love to have you. If we can pull a fireside show like this, I know it can make it happen. That's easy. I would just have to set up the details, and I don't want everybody to be freezing. So maybe we'll do something, maybe we can do something like that in the spring.
Yeah.
On a weekend that I'm actually back up here. Wink, wink. Pull that off. I think that's a great idea. Maybe we can get Dennis and Ryan, and maybe get Kimmy. Oh, John, Wait till you meet Robert. He's not on tonight. I don't know why. I don't know who he was, but brother Odell he's number one. I'm number two. He can hit you with some stuff, and then you'll think, what in the hell are you talking about? And then at the end of it, you're like, that's damn smart. Where the hell did that come from? Yeah, you gotta get out here for that. Rhonda, what y'all got going on with FPRI and your stuff?
Well, as you saw tonight, the most of our group is out in Vermont on paranormal vacation this week. But I think the next thing we have coming up, Whole Greens Virginia are doing something out at Hamilton on the Saturday after Thanksgiving. I think there are probably tickets still available for that. So that's happening out at Hamilton, and then the first weekend in December, we will be out at Gettysburg Academy. On Friday night, we're doing an investigation, and on Saturday night, dinner with a ghost.
Very cool. The only thing I can say is, as far as the network goes, we do have December 9th right here. That is the toy drive for the cabin.
Yeah, I think we'll be out for that too.
There you go. Other than that, listen out for details. There might be something happening with the network come New Year's. Keep focused. See what you hear. We'll let you know. Now, I will say on that there's something unique that is being put together. Jon, you need to check your invite. Dude, look at your invite. Okay.
Do it right now. Hold on.
But see, keep an eye out for the Rift and see what we may be pulling off New Year's and New Year's Eve. It's going to be really great. Cool. Well, Jon's going, crap, I'm going to look. You better look.
I saw it. I did. I saw that.
Okay.
I'll let you know.
Other than that, travelers and those like, thank you for tuning in. Hold on. She slid one up on me. Let me get her in here. I'm wondering if anyone ever did an investigation around any of those native locations, like the ones built into the sides of the hills in the desert. Yes, Navajo Paranormal, Nevada Paranormal, they are a native, one of the few only native paranormal teams that are out, have done those, but they have not given responses. But yes, they have. But this is another valid point before we shut the show off tonight. I would love to do Jamestown. If I could do Jamestown, Yorktown, that would be great. I would love the opportunity to research and have some time on that, just like Henricus, because those of us who've been Henricus never fails. I have to say that.
Henricus does not disappoint ever.
Yeah, it's amazing. So, travelers and those like, thank you so much for tuning in. Tune in tomorrow night to Joni. I'm not sure if Keith is on tomorrow night, but Joni, of course, is always about astrology and criminology. It's an amazing show. I love how she applies it. If Keith comes on, that's Otter's Den. Check it out. Tuesday night, don't miss Mama Raven and Raven's Flock. And she's changed up a little bit. And I'm loving the way she goes about this. She's definitely worth your attention. Thank you all so much. Jon, again, thank you.
Thanks, Jon.
So much for being here.
Thank y'all for having me again.
Absolutely. Well, we'll have to come capture you, homie. You're gonna be here. Till next time. We'll see you all on the other side. Just remember, may virtue be yours.
Good night. Have a great week.
All right.